The Council on Foreign Relations released some new data for us on Obama's foreign policy. And I want to show you a chart here that you definitely won't see in the mainstream media. Take a look at this. What a liberal. What a liberal. Look at this. Our progressive president. Hope and Change. Hope and Change is in office now. And the bomb tallies are Syria, 12,192. Iraq, 12,095. Afghanistan, 1,337. Libya, 496. Yemen, 34. Somalia, 14. Pakistan, 3. So 7 different interventions. We are currently involved in 7 different interventions, which is more than under George W. Bush. Hope and change, all right. Hope and change in a more right-wing direction when it comes to the number of interventions that we've done. Now, to be fair to our dear liberal leader here, a lot of these places where we're intervening, they're more traditional airstrikes, so just fighter jets. I like how I'm saying just fighter jets. Like the people in those countries are like, it's cool, it's just fighter jets. No, they're still fucking outraged over it, of course. But it's fighter jets, it's drone strikes, it's what they call special ops boots on the ground. So it's not like a full-scale invasion, but we do still have a full-scale invasion going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. We still have a traditional military occupation in Iraq and Afghanistan. So 2 full-scale wars going on, and the rest of the other 5 are interventions because he's so liberal. He's so liberal. Now, obviously, if you had Dick Cheney still in power, or if you had John Bolton, who's now going to be the Deputy Secretary of State in power, and the neocons, you would probably have 7 full-scale interventions, or at least 3 full-scale wars, and the other ones, more minor interventions. But that's the problem in the U.S., is that you have one party that's for soft imperialism, which granted is almost a contradiction in terms and a gross kind of phrase, but soft imperialism where it's like, yeah, sometimes we just bomb you, so aren't we so liberal? And the other party is just for outright imperialism everywhere, and they've totally drunk the Kool-Aid of American exceptionalism, which is American supremacy, which is a bigoted idea against every other group and every other nationality, and neoconservatism, which I think manifests as a fundamentalist religion, because the answer is always the same. It's always more war. More war, more intervention, more America. It's like, let's sprinkle our fairy dust everywhere, everything will get better. It's like a religious belief. So those are apparently your options in the U.S. You have endless war for both parties, but one of them is soft imperialism, one of them is all-out imperialism. Oh, and by the way, media. What's good, dog? Do they have anything to say about this? No, they don't. You're not going to see this chart in the mainstream media. Your great liberal president dropped 26,171 bombs in 1 year alone. Somebody should do the math on that and find out, I guess you could do the math kind of easily to figure out what it is per day. Well, I didn't do it beforehand, so I can't do it in my head, but do the math on that and find out how many bombs that is per day, because here's what I think it is. Too many. What if, just riddle me this, what if, instead of dropping 26,171 bombs, what if we dropped 0? What would the world look like if we dropped 0? I mean, come on, Kyle. If we dropped 0, obviously, ISIS would have invaded Nebraska long ago. Not sure I believe that. So understand, you do have people already fighting ISIS. You have Shia militias fighting ISIS. You have Kurds fighting ISIS. You have the Syrian government fighting ISIS. So, okay, they're over there in their region where ISIS is a direct threat to them. They ain't here. So let's say they fought them. Let's say we stopped the war in Afghanistan because no matter what, the Taliban is going to be resurgent when we leave. So if you rip off the mandate now or in 12 years and blow more money, there's still going to be resurgence. Let's say we got out of Afghanistan. Let's say we dropped 0 bombs. Would the world really look that much different? Here's how I think it'd be different. I think there'd be less anti-American sentiment around the world. Because a big part of radicalization is, you killed my aunt, you killed my uncle, you killed my best friend. I wasn't on the side of these crazy jihadists, but Now I got to defend my people, right? I got to defend my family. What am I going to do? They're the ones that are coming along here saying, oh, you hate the Americans, huh? Well, we'll be a home for you in that ideology. So what if we decided, hey, 0 bombs. I'll be kind to the Hawks. What if instead of 26,171 we did 365? About 1 a day. What, 1 a day? We're limiting your bombing to 1 a day. Can you handle that? It's so sad to see this, and the media's got nothing to say. Somebody should really look into what happened with CNN. When was the last time CNN spoke about the war in Afghanistan or spoke about the war in Iraq? My guess is, if you look within the last year, there's probably a period of at least a month straight where they didn't bring up Iraq and they didn't bring up Afghanistan. So we're in 2 full-scale wars and doing 7 interventions. They didn't bring up the wars probably for a month straight. Think about how crazy that is. Think about how fucking nuts that is. Because this is what the mainstream media does. They exist to please the establishment and to be the mouthpiece of the establishment, to be the stenographers of the elite. So if they don't want you talking about the war, because they don't want popular pressure against the war, they just won't talk about the war. It's not nefarious, it's that they only hire people who are dense enough and ridiculous enough to parrot the line without even realizing they're parroting the line. So there's your great media not discussing these facts, which are important, and here's your great liberal president who's done this. So it's a sad state of affairs, and we all need to rise up against this imperialism and this militarism, because I think the world will be a safer place if we do. And not to mention, not just the human toll and all the civilians dead and our soldiers dead, but also the money. The war in Iraq, when all is said and done, $7 trillion. $7 trillion we wasted on it. Afghanistan, also multiple trillions of dollars. And then you got, nobody ever says, hey, can we continue to afford to bomb Syria and Iraq? Nobody ever says that. They should. They should, because we can't even get fucking clean water in Flint. But we got all the money in the world to nation build and have 800 military bases that cost $100 billion a year to maintain. Over 50% of our discretionary budget goes to the military. These are gigantic problems. We need to take these resources and reallocate them to give people health care, to give people education, to get them clean water and an infrastructure that doesn't get a grade of D like ours does, according to the Society of Civil Engineers and their report that they release. So this is sick, and nobody's going to talk about it, and they should talk about it.